All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 10th Public Safety Committee meeting. It is 11:30 a.m. and we are meeting remotely on Zoom. With us today, we have Councilwoman Bonnie Katz, Williamsport Bureau of Police Chief Justin Snyder, Assistant Chief Jason Bolt, Williamsport Bureau Fire Chief Sam Ungst, and our city's IT guru, Chris Black, and Janice Frank, our city clerk. First item on the agenda is a resolution for consulting agreement between the Williamsport Bureau of Police and the Pennsylvania Chief of Police PA Chiefs of Police Association. Chief Snyder.
Good morning. I apologize. I got a little bit of construction going on outside my window here. So if you hear that, I apologize for that. Yeah, this is just a resolution bringing forth. It's an agreement between the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police and the Williamsport Bureau of Police for our promotional testing. Currently, we're in the midst of testing for the rank of agent, corporal, and sergeant. We've done the written already. We're looking to do the oral examinations or the interviews, if you will. The reason for the resolution bringing it to you is the change in the agreement. So the agreement has changed from a $1,500 fee that would go to the Pennsylvania Chief of Police Association that has increased to $1,800. So the increase is the reason for bringing this to the public safety meeting and bringing it to City Council. So it's very simple, but just the change in cost, the increase in cost of $300 is the reason I bring that before you. So I'll open up the floor for any change or any questions about the change.
Councilwoman Katz, go ahead.
Hi, Chief Snyder. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, ma'am?
We're doing okay. With the cost, how many officers are applying for this?
We have 4 or 5 that are testing.
Oh. And the $1,800 per person.
No, that wouldn't be per person. That's for the entire crew.
Oh, it's just for that day. That's all he's going to. Okay,
Yeah.
so the $1,800. See, I misread that. I thought it was per person.
Nope.
Where is this in your budget? Do you have this in your budget? What
Yes.
line item?
Yes, this has already been pre-planned. We knew the promotions were coming and it's all been budgeted for.
We do this every year, don't we? This seems very, like we've done this before quite often.
Depending on the outcomes, we try to do it every other year because the civil service will last for 2 years. So it depends how many applicants there are, how many successfully pass, and how many promotions we actually do. So there's a lot of variables in place. But yes, that we did budget it for this year. Budget for this year.
The only other thing that I would suggest is that the cost should be put in the resolution.
You want it on the front of the resolution because
Yeah.
it's attached to the agreement that's attached.
It should be, we usually want to put the cost in the resolution itself.
Okay, we could do
And
that.
from
I just took the last resolution that was done for this before and just cut and pasted on that. But that's something we could absolutely do. Can make that happen.
And it would be $1,800 plus expenses, right?
No, it's just a flat fee of $1,800 for that
Okay.
1 day process.
Because in the thing, it does say plus expenses, so. But that's the only other thing that, when people go online and they look at the resolutions, that's why I know, Janice, you put the whole thing in, don't you now? Are you there, Janice?
Sorry, Bonnie.
I asked the chief to put the cost on in the resolution itself, but you do put the whole packet online, don't you anymore?
Yes, I do the whole thing, so they will see the cost too.
They will see the cost. So, I know that, there have been certain council people in the past that do want the cost in the resolution. Well, I'm asking you, Janice, is this, necessary at this point?
I don't think with this one, because it's a small cost and he will have the backup paper with it. So,
Okay.
I mean,
I wanted to clarify, because I know in the past, we've always wanted the cost in the resolution.
that's up to council, and I know Liz is a stickler on that. So,
Right. That's who I was thinking of with this. So, Chief, either or, and
We can make
it's
that
no,
happen. That's an easy fix.
sure, okay. I have no other questions.
Nor do I. So in that case, I will take a motion to pass this along to the full body council with a positive recommendation.
I make a motion to full body with a positive recommendation.
And I guess I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Look at that, Bonnie. I did it in the first try.
How about that?
All right. Thank you, Chief Snyder, for that.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on Thursday, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next up on the agenda is a resolution to accept the state fire grant. Chief Ungst.
Good afternoon, Councilman Mackey and Ms. Katz. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good. Prior to our becoming the chief and the assistant chief, Chief Killian had applied for a state fire grant for the amount of $15,000 to pay for or toward the car one. That's the last payment for car one. And that amount is $16,004.06. The $15,000 grant was awarded to us, and we just need to make pass a resolution to accept the grant. Any
Great.
questions?
Councilwoman Katz.
Chief, do we have, you said the total cost is 16?
Yes.
So is this budgeted anywhere?
Yes, it's in the, where is it? Support equipment, sorry.
Support equipment, okay.
Yes.
I think what I said to Chief Snyder, I think that should be in the resolution also, that, we are responsible for, what's the total cost, 16?
Yeah, the final payment is $16,004.06. So
Okay.
we're under by $1,004.06.
And that should be in the resolution itself.
Correct,
Okay.
but we're also planning on using the sale of the Impala towards that. So that's kind of.
Oh, so you're trying to, so there might not be the 16 coming out of the line item because you're going to use something that you're selling?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay,
But I'll still amend that and put that in the resolution.
I think it would be smart to do that, even though you're looking to cover the cost with the sale of another item.
Yeah, I thought we had that in, but must have gotten taken out. I must have taken it out. What's that? Yeah, no, for the Tahoe. Okay, yep, I will absolutely get that in there.
Okay, I have no other, fantastic to get $15,000.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's great. I have no other questions.
So just to make sure I'm following here, I mean, obviously, we did lease this this Tahoe in 2019. If we were not awarded the grants, where would this final lease payment have come from?
He said, good question. No, I believe there's money, Chief Killian had budgeted money in the support equipment line item.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. We don't know exactly what was budgeted for and what wasn't. We've gone back through a lot of documentation, and we just can't find what was budgeted for and what wasn't. So.
Well, where I guess then where were the previous payments coming from?
the support equipment line item.
Okay. So, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if that's the case, then we should have an extra $15,000 in the support equipment line item then?
Again, I'm not positive. That's my understanding. That would be my guess.
I mean, if we're using a $15,000 grant, and we didn't have the grant, I'm assuming there was $15,000 in that line item to make this payment.
Right, but this grant is something that it's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so I think he did budget for the grant.
I got you. Okay. All right. No, that's it. Yeah, no, this is great. So, and hopefully we can sell that Impala.
Yeah, yeah, and that's in your packet, the explanation memo. We'll use the funds from the sale of the Impala towards the remaining $1,004.06. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Councilwoman Katz, if you have no other questions.
I make a motion, we pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the sale of the aforementioned Impala by the city of Williamsport through the publicsurplus.com website. Chief Ongst.
So the Impala was bought back in 2008, around there. I spoke with Chief Heinball, and he thinks it was sometime right around there. It was a new car or a newer car, maybe a year old. But since that time, there's been a lot of things that happened to the vehicle. A tree fell on it, crushed the A-post. Some tar fell on it. Well, not tar, but plastic insulation from wiring had fallen on it. There's a lot of small little issues that are starting to cost us on it, and it's not really benefiting the fire department at all right now. So we'd like to get rid of that and use the proceeds from that to pay the additional $1,004.06 for the Tahoe.
All right. Bonnie, do you have any questions?
This must have been a very unlucky car, looking at these pictures and everything. I mean, my Lord, something, put a jinx on it. What was this vehicle used for, Chief?
When it was purchased for Chief Heinball. He used it to, he was also in charge of codes or oversaw codes, and he would use it. He would be out driving around, and he wanted something, as the chief's vehicle.
Okay, which is no longer there. There's no longer anything of that use in the department, I take it.
Nothing that the Impala would benefit us with.
Okay.
Something more like the Tahoe or a pickup truck would be more in line with what we need.
This vehicle doesn't look like it would even have the room for any kind of equipment to be put in it.
It doesn't.
mean,
the last few years, when we've hired 1 or 2 firefighters and sent them to the academy, we called it the academy car because that's all we used it for. I'm not real comfortable with the fact that that A-post that was crushed by the tree when it fell, it was fixed. It was straightened, put it that way. It wasn't really fixed. They were trying to save money, and rather than cutting that part out and replacing it, they just straightened it.
What do you think you're going to get for this vehicle?
Good question. I looked on kbb.com and a few other places, and it ranged from anywhere $1,250 to $4,000 to sell it outright. And I spoke with Scott Jolan, who is a body man. He works for Streets and Parks. And the best guesstimate would be to put a minimum bid on or a reserve of $750. I'm guessing we're going to get a little over 1,000 for it, depending on that's what they're looking at for on not this public surplus, but municipal. That's what they were going for, because we originally thought that's who we used was municipal, but then we recently found out that it was public surplus that we're now using.
Okay. To me, this is probably a waste of a vehicle.
Yeah.
For the department. There must have been money in the accounts at that point for some reason. But I mean, not like we're scrounging at this point to get, everything that the department needs. So it's probably good to get this sold, that the money can be used for other, to at least like compensate for the $15,000, that we owe the 1,000. I mean, I think that's wonderful. I have no other questions. I think this is something good.
Okay, and Chief, there will be no need to replace this vehicle with anything newer then, is what I'm hearing.
Currently, we are looking at other vehicles to replace the truck that tows the boats. We're looking at some opportunities, grant opportunities, with the help of Adam Winder. The AFIG grant, which is alternative fuels. So it'd be, if we purchased a diesel, we could upfit it through the manufacturer or through the motor manufacturer with the CNG, and that AFIG grant would pay for the vehicle and the upfit for it.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yep.
I do have another question.
Yeah, Bonnie.
Chief, when we're looking at things, we do have lobbyists that we're paying money for. They should be also looking for funding for our departments. And I think that would be, to me, I think they should be, asked to look at, see what can be done, especially what's going on, especially after COVID and so many other areas. That is there money out there that the lobbyists can find for not only the fire department, but the police department, and, see if there is some funding out there. And I think, I don't know which one would be the better one to even ask. I would ask both, maybe, Keller and Delta, to see, what's available. To me, if money's out there, let's go after it.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Okay, well, no other questions on my end, so
I'll make a motion that we pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the submission of a letter of intent to the Governor's Center for an intergovernmental agreement with Old Lycoming Township Volunteer Fire Company. And Chief Ongst, you're up again.
All right. So currently we have an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with Old Lycoming Township that we've had since 1999. That intergovernmental cooperative agreement has not changed at all. We've been having meetings with Old Lycoming Township, the township members, the public safety committee, the mayor, and both fire department representatives. We'd like to progress this and form a commission, if you will, to oversee some things. And to do that, we'd like to have somebody that would come in and facilitate the meetings, to mediate them. And to do that through the Governor's Center would include having to have a letter of intent agreed upon by both municipalities. So that's where we're at. And there's some information in the packet that I'd sent out on the memo that explains a little more detail.
Bonnie?
Last meeting that we had, Chief, that was how many months ago that we had that
I believe
meeting
that
on
was,
this?
yeah, I was there not as a representative of the fire department.
Right,
but,
that I realized. And
believe
the
that was
meeting
just-
itself was interesting.
Yeah.
And to see how far we can go, and the letter of intent really, was supposed to be worked on shortly thereafter that meeting. And of course, everything, got changed. But I think, everybody was for this. And I think this is, the next step that needs to be done in order to see where we're going to go with this. And as you said, Chief, that, you've talked to so many other municipalities as far as how far we can go with regionalization.
Right.
And, this is just, inching its way closer and closer.
Exactly. I mean, regionalization is a win-win-win for nearly everyone involved.
Exactly.
When I was a township supervisor, I was absolutely in favor of regionalization, whether it's the fire, the police, EMS, the road department, school districts, everything. To me, the duplication of equipment and services are unbelievable. So I think this is, we're moving the right direction with having these meetings and having somebody from the governor's office to facilitate that and give us some guidance on funding and funding sources and the like.
I think that's one of the things we did discuss, Chief, is that with regionalization, I think there does come more funding.
Yes. Yeah.
So therefore, and more cooperation with the different townships. So, let's hope this moves a little bit quicker. I mean, let's face it, Chief, we've been working on this and in our minds anyhow for years. And let's make it let's take it to the next level. So I'm for this 100%, John.
Chief, couple things. When speaking about items 4 and 9 specifically, how are you? So let's start with number 4. How are you going to revise this to entice ridership? Because from what I'm seeing is that you haven't had many Old Lycoming firefighters. Is that correct?
Correct. So Old Lycoming, there was some miscommunication on our part and on the Old Lycoming Fire Company's part. One of the ideas that we had was if a firefighter rode along a certain number of hours, when they took the test to come on the Williamsport Fire Department, they would get bonus points. And that was something that was supposed to have gone through civil service, but I don't believe that it was brought before them yet. So, but we have talked about it, and it's something that the Civil Service Board is willing to discuss.
Okay. And then as far as item 9 goes, each party shall carry and maintain its own policies of insurance, including but not limited to workers' compensation, liability, and umbrella insurance coverages, and shall be responsible for the actions of its own officers, employees, or members. What is it about that you're going to change?
Well, we had an accident. One of our members was driving an engine. It was about a year and a half ago. It was Christmas Eve, I believe, and he was involved in an accident with city police cruiser, and the firefighter, Old Lycoming, removed them from their driving. They were not allowed to drive any of Old Lycoming's apparatus. They never interviewed them. There were a number of issues that I personally saw that I had a hard time with. And that's some of the things that we'd like to address. We've had other firefighters that have been in a little more minor accidents that nothing was ever said or done about it. So we definitely need to address the insurances, and that's something that the commission would be able to work on. And the commission would be inclusive of city council members, a member at large, township supervisors, a member at large from the fire company, and a member at large from the fire department. So.
And then to point, it says number 17, we would like to have this, the last sentence deleted, and there's a significant amount of text highlighted. Which sentence exactly are you talking about?
Yeah, so it was the last sentence. Notwithstanding the above, upon demand of company, city shall pay 1/2 of the cost to repair or replace any apparatus, engine, drivetrain, pump, or any part thereof on company apparatus used by the city. They've never really approached that with us. They've always taken care of it and maintained that. We just want to make sure that, at any time in the future that it's not addressed, and that we don't end up with a bill for operating their apparatus.
And again, this is something that has been discussed with them already, and they're.
No, this really hasn't been discussed in great detail at all with them. Minor off the cuff discussion, but other than that, no, it has not been formally discussed.
Okay, so I'm just trying to follow the timeline here. So you would delete this last sentence and then talk
Correct.
about it and hope that they are okay with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right. That's all I have, Bonnie. Do you have anything else?
Nope. I'll make a motion to pass this on to the full body of council with a positive recommendation.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That brings us to any related items. I'll open the floor if anybody has anything.
It isn't anything that's related to our agenda today, but I would really like to acknowledge the passing of Dan Markley, who retired from Streets and Parks and worked at Streets and Parks for a good many years. And the dedication the man had to the city was unbelievable. And it is a loss. And it's John Markley's brother also. And it's a hard time for the family right now.
Well, thank you for that, Bonnie, for sure.